Welcome to Bits and Pieces. I follow a podcast called Just Grow Something. And a few weeks ago, or maybe, a few days ago, I don't remember, she asked about you thinking about why you garden. And I guess this is a little bit of a example of what my why is. So these are the cookbooks that I have been spending my time looking through right now, mainly because it is time for garden planting, and I'm thinking about the things that I want to preserve. I've got small batch preserving. They have a salsa recipe, and I really like, and I used several years ago. And then, of course, Ball, your good standard book on preserving. And then this. This is my latest acquisition. When I purchased it, it said it was a 1901 cookbook, but it is not. It is a updated version of a cookbook that was originally printed in 1901, but we've had several publications since then. I'm thinking this is the 1987 version. This is pretty much the closest I could come from. But I had found a digital version of the 1901 and was very excited about it because almost a year ago, we went on a trip to visit my cousin, and my wife's aunt ended up joining us because we were going to Disney World while we were there. And we got to talking about my interest in old recipes. And she was talking about cornichon, I believe it was. Let's see. Canning and pickling. $5.43. So I spent an hour trying to find this recipe. And where is it? 5. Here we go. All right. Des cornichons. I'm probably butchering that as usual. I'm sure my wife will come in and correct me at some point. But I had found this recipe in this 1901 digital copy of this book and was very excited about it. And because we couldn't figure out what this was, and then we discovered this was just the French word for pickles. So, but still trying to find something from that area that would be as close as we could to this. So I have a sweet one and a sour version. And this is from a New Orleans newspaper that published this. And so I'm wanting to try this. I'm not sure what mace is. I need to find out what mace is. But I've got everything else, or I'm planning on growing it. I have seeds for some pickling cucumbers. This is actually going to be my first time attempting to grow those and making pickles. But yeah, this was a serious motivation for why I wanted to grow cucumbers this year. And as I've watched a lot of other videos on how people garden plan, they either buy whatever they want and then figure out what it is they're actually going to grow, or they're focusing on, but I don't know how to put that. But anyway, sorry. My approach has been, there are recipes I want to try, therefore I want to buy these foods. I'm growing pimentos specifically because I have a lot of vintage recipes that say pimentos, but they don't specify jarred pimentos or chopped pimentos that you buy in the store in those little glass jars. So I'm going to grow pimentos so I can do some of these recipes without resorting to the jarred stuff, and see if that makes a difference in the taste. But this time it's cucumbers. I need to find out if this blades of mace thing is something I can grow or purchase. But yeah, this, I'm very excited about this book, even though it is from the 80s instead of 1901, like the ad had said that I purchased it from online. This has been a good go-to for me for years. I think this is where I get my fig preserve recipes from. It's got several tomato preserve recipes for both water bath canning and pressure canning. I do not have a pressure canner, so I will not be doing that. Yeah, this is my fig preserves. You'll notice how easily it opened up to that page. And I haven't been able to successfully grow jalapenos in a few years, but I did have a recipe in here for a salsa. See if I can find it. 126. Let's see. And yep. Let's see. Nope. Here's my salsa. Like I said, it's been a few years since I've made it. 79 maybe. I probably spilt something on the page, so it shouldn't. There it is. Obviously, not in great shape. I knew I'd probably spilt something on it. It's a little warped from a little bit of water damage here. But when I did this, it made some, one, it uses parsley, which I like, but it also recommended the possibility of using basil or thyme instead of the parsley. And I did this with oregano one year, and it was amazing. But yes, I'm hoping I can do this again this year. This is the cookbooks I'm looking at, and like I said, this is my newest edition. I'm having a little difficulty focusing on exploring new recipes from all my vintage, or new to me recipes from all my vintage cookbooks, because this is my obsession, like planning my garden, thinking about what I'm going to cook and preserve this summer, and also just having a general meltdown over the state of our country right now, and feeling a little panicked that maybe this gardening is going to be necessary. It's not going to be a, oh, this is going to make my life better, this is going to make my food taste better, this is going to make, you know, something fun to do, maybe reduce my grocery budget. I feel like it's going to be necessary. I guess I fear with them deporting our farm workers and threatening tariffs on countries that we import large quantities of food from, doesn't seem like a good way to have a stable food source. So I hope you'll forgive me all for being a little obsessed with the garden this year, especially this time of the year. I'm kind of hoping that maybe a lot of my cooking going forward, will be stuff I get from my garden. Although right now, my garden is filled with peppers and garlic and some stunted lettuce. I recently put in some Brussels sprouts that have not had a chance to go anywhere, and every time it drizzles, I'm out there sprinkling some more Sluggo because, yeah, it turns out snails like Brussels sprouts. I'm looking forward to either the end of this month or early next month getting in grapes and blackberries and a new fig tree because, you know, spending 3 weeks of my life just canning figs is not near enough. I need more figs. I'm hoping to get different trees next year, and I did plant the apple tree last year. I figure if I just add a couple of trees and other food-bearing perennials, we'll do good. I've started some seeds this year for a artichoke. I also, the handful of seeds that I did not get from Southern Seeds that I'd ordered, I just had them cancel, and I went and bought the ones that I was prioritizing, like dill, at a local store. One of those big box stores. And I hope you'll bear with me as I try to explore some of my really old cookbooks with growing whatever I am growing out of the garden, probably having to make adaptations to fit what I am growing. And by the way, that's interesting. My two little books on preserving is the same height as this Creole cookbook. This does have a lot of jellies and interesting bean recipes and pickle recipes that I think will also be fun, as well as desserts and wine. It's got wine making. I gotta see wine. I'm not gonna have enough blackberries or muscadines this year to make wine, but maybe in a couple of years I will. Because what it calls for 4 quarts of blackberry juice or 4 quarts of muscadine juice to make wine. So yeah, let's see how this growing season goes.